I'm Jeff Myers, and welcome to Elgin Today. On this edition, Sandy Taylor retires after 35 years of work for the Elgin Fire Department, always at Fire Station Number 1, in recent times with the title Administrative Assistant. We talk with Sandy, whose career for the city also includes 10 years with the Elgin Water Department. Elgin City Council member Carol Rauschenberger talks about a couple of issues close to her heart. And also at City Hall, we hear some of the details of what's being constructed in the area between the Hemmons Cultural Center and Elgin City Hall. A different format for the third annual Back to School Barbecue this year as the cars lined up for a drive-through event. We will hear from Councilmember Corey Dixon, who helped create this event. We'll have these stories and more on this edition of Elgin Today. Sandy Taylor, it's August 21st. You're retiring after 35 years here in the fire department at Fire Station 1 and 10 years before that at the water. Tell me how you feel.
I feel good. I really do. It's a long time in coming, but I'm very comfortable with it and I'm happy.
Your job with the fire department, tell me what it was all about.
Well, it really was about serving the public, working with a group of great guys, and just enjoying, the people that I work with, city employees, dealing with the public, working with other departments. So it was very good.
Great community-minded services, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It really is. They wanted you to go for 50, but you said no, is that right? You're at 45 for the full city?
45.
They offered you a fire truck, is that right?
Well, not quite a fire truck.
That's why I heard me off there.
But, 45 was
Big prizes.
good. Yeah, 45 was good. It's time to let someone else come in and take that cornerstone and make it better than what it is.
It's a great staff here, is it not?
It's a very good staff.
They've named a replacement. Can you identify her?
I can. It's Maria.
Maria will take over. Maria, what's your last name?
Madrano.
All right, Maria takes over. How long has Maria worked here?
15 years.
All right, so she takes over. What will you miss?
I think I'm going to miss the people the most, and just dealing with the guys, working with the guys. That's what I'm going to miss.
Well, you
the most.
brought out a great crowd. They all love you here. So everybody's.
Well, I don't know that. I think they just came to get the cake.
Well, it's either we got about 3 dozen cookies as well, kids.
Well,
so don't go away.
Yeah.
Well, certainly. The water department. How'd you first get started working for the city of Elgin?
Well, I started in the water department. I started with the water meter shop when it was on Slade Avenue.
Wow.
And then we were there, I don't know how many years we were there, and they built the new building over on Riverside, and we moved over to the Riverside water treatment plant.
Hey.
And I was there, I don't know how many years from there, and I transferred here to the fire department.
How did this transfer come about? Is that what you wanted to do?
Well, what happened is the position opened up, and I really felt like it would be a great position to have. You would be dealing with the public, and it would be something different every day, because every day something different is happening in the fire department. So I felt that would be a good place to be, and it has turned out to be very well for me.
At your desk here, would folks first come to you, or who would always come to you for help? The guys?
The guys, just everybody.
Everybody would come to you?
Just everybody.
Your new replacement knows that now, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
Any final thoughts? Your vacation time, what are you going to do?
Well,
Or your retirement time?
my retirement time. Well, COVID did kind of mess me up. I would like to do a little traveling. So once things clear up, I'll do some traveling. As everybody else knows, you have so much to do at home. So there's a lot of things for me to do at home before.
Wonderful.
And then I have my preaching work, so I'll do that.
We appreciate all your great service. Thanks for representing the city of Elgin so well, and happy retirement to you.
Thank you. I am done enjoying it.
Thanks, Andy.
And thanks for everybody for coming out.
We're going to talk it over with Carol Rauschenberg, City Council member. Carol, you're very much involved. The city's involved in climate emergency. Tell me how that's going.
I'd be very happy to do that, Jeff. So in March of this year, a group of citizens came forward to the Elgin Sustainability Commission and asked them to pass an emergency climate change resolution. The Sustainability Commission did that and then asked me to sponsor that emergency climate change resolution to the City Council. So in May, we did pass that resolution. And I think I want to make sure to reveal that it is aspirational in context. The city of Elgin every day makes decisions that have to do with our climate and what impact that has on it as we move forward. Especially as we know from the last few years, we've had flooding that has been, since I've been on city council, we've had 300-year events as far as rain and flooding in our beautiful Fox River. We've had water issues, and that has to do with the amount of heat that is in our water system. We take some of our water from the Fox River, and that upstream that sits and causes algae growth that has affected our quality of our water. And storms. We all know the difference of the sort of storms we've had in the last 3 or 4 years. So these are climate issues that we as a city need to take thought about and to see what we do in the future, how we budget for them, how we manage them, etc. So that's what the climate change resolution is, bringing those ideas forward, making sure they're at the top of the mind for city council, for city staff, and all our citizens.
Wonderful cause. You're very good on that. Shared harvest. You're like the queen of shared harvest from time to time. Tell me the current status.
Right. So Shared Harvest, as many people may know, is a cooperative grocery store in the making. And cooperative, it's a business model that means that the people in your community are owners of the grocery store. It's not a corporate, national corporation. It's a grocery store owned by all of us. Shared Harvest has been always committed to not only bringing good food, supporting local farmers, but to help downtown Elgin be more economically resilient. So that's why it's been a harder task to try to find a location in our downtown that meets the needs of a small grocery store.
It's an outdoor gathering we have for this edition with Mayor David Captain. Mayor, you got us outside on a kind of a semi-cool day for us this time.
Beautiful day, Jeff. Welcome everyone to the Salvation Army on Douglas Avenue. And we have a couple of things to talk about today. Some things new, some things old. And with us are the 2 new captains. We have 3 captains today on the show. And the Captain Linnea and Rich Fournier have just come to the city of Elgin to take command of this Salvation Army. And tell us where you came from. Give us a little bit of your history and your first impression. This is, you've only been here 6 or 8 weeks, and your first impressions of the city.
Well, we just came from Aurora, so we didn't go too far, just 20 miles. But we're excited to be here. It's another new community, and we love coming in and meeting people and starting up new things and also continuing with the traditions that we typically do here in Elgin.
And coming in, we're just finally getting moved in. The car's in the garage. You know what that's like when you move. So that's it's progress. We love this community. Being up and down the river, having been in Wisconsin along the river and in Aurora, we know what the history of the river towns has a similar pattern, and it's interesting meeting the business leaders in this community who have changed over the years as everything ebbs and flows along the river. So we feel very welcome. We're checking out all the restaurants around. Love doing that and meeting folks every place we go.
Had you been to Elgin when you're in Aurora? Did you come visit us every now and then?
A few times we had meetings here, and during our meetings, one of us would pick a restaurant, depending on where we go. So one time we were in Elgin, and we've been to some restaurants. So
if it's not on Randall Road, it doesn't exist.
That's
is
what
what
we
we've been
pretty
told.
much
There is a good downtown as well, though.
Absolutely.
Yes, we've been to the Blue Box. We've been to a few places, and wonderful atmosphere.
On a personal note, how long have you been involved with the Salvation Army? How long have you been married?
Well, we've been married 27 years.
I could have said that. I could have said that.
We have 2 great children, 22 and 24, and we have a beautiful grandson and a son-in-law and a beautiful 3-year-old grandson. We've been in the Army our whole lives. My parents started in Escanaba, Michigan, but we've been attending it as our church for our whole lives. Rich is a little different. He's come through
3rd generation Salvation Army officer.
Wow.
My grandparents and then my parents, and so I've grown up moving around as a officer's kid, a pastor's kid. a PK as they call them, and also an MK, missionary kid. So I lived overseas in Argentina for 4 years when I was 9 years old. And since then, been involved in youth ministry with the Salvation Army for 20 years before becoming Salvation Army officers.
And I did in-home state licensed daycare. So youth and children, it's in our blood, it's in our passion. So we just
And we met at a camp
we met
for
at
the
the
Salvation Army.
camp.
Okay.
So
Well, really?
What town
Okay.
was that at?
in East Troy, Wisconsin.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep. So
That
right
was
by
St.
my
Edward's.
left.
Oh, that's
had
right.
by-
We-
right-
Elgin has
right
a
down the
long
road.
history up
Yep.
there. That's
Yes.
right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes, right by,
Camp Edwards,
yes,
yep.
yes,
Great.
yes.
Well, that's great.
You kind of gave me a segue into talking about what I really wanted to kind of look at. This is the 135th anniversary of the Salvation Army, and part of its roots are here in Elgin, and you have some plans how to celebrate that. Tell us what you're planning to do, and tell us about the history.
Exciting history. 135 years, 20 years after the Salvation Army began, it was already here in Elgin.
Oh.
And then we're talking England. I mean, so 20 years later, we're already here, established in this area, serving the people in need in the community. And so for 135 years, changing and growing with the needs in the community, we continue to see that as our role of what we want to do and what we want to be. We are your Salvation Army. We are the Elgin Salvation Army. Not every community has the Salvation Army Corps Community Center, but we have one here that's well rooted and well established, and so we want to be a resource as much as we can. This next year we're going to be celebrating 135, even though everything's been delayed this year. So this next year we'll be celebrating 135 years. We're bringing in a very large professional international brass band, Salvation Army is known for. So look forward to that, and a choir that travels as well. We are partnering with the library. We'd like to do a display at the library about Salvation Army history here in Elgin. And so be aware, it's coming. Keep watching for it. We look forward to celebrating. And as a matter of fact, we have some personalities that came from this area all along the river here, both from Aurora as well as Elgin. Some very well-known international figures that have their roots right here in our community.
We'll drop a name or two that catches your
Well,
eye.
you are going to be hearing all about Edward Parker,
Yes.
who became the national commander for the Salvation Army.
Wow.
Who grew up right downtown here, and you can still visit his home and see it. So
Is that right?
I don't want to reveal too much,
Don't do that.
but I do want to put a teaser out there to say we can't wait to highlight what Elgin has meant to the international Salvation Army on a national level, and say we are proud to have roots of leadership that came right from here in Elgin.
That's why we're so good with history, Mayor.
That's correct. That's really great to make those connections. That's what we like to do, and show about the people that have been here a long time and their contributions to the community and to the world around us. And Elgin's been a fixture in the Midwest for a long time, and we have some very famous people that came from here as
Absolutely.
well.
Great.
We all face some struggles now, and COVID-19 is a major one. You guys provide some services. I'm sure those have changed. Providing food. How do you go about doing that now, and how's that changed for you, just in the day-to-day operations of the Salvation Army?
Well, I know with many of the Salvation Armies and food pantries, we are now doing a drive-through. So this, where we're sitting right now, gets very, very busy on Saturdays. From 9:30 to 11:30, we have cars lined up all around the block, and we have we have some volunteers, probably not many, but some volunteers that come and help pass out food, and we just put it on alongside the sidewalk here, and they come through, and we get their names and stuff, and they just keep driving on through. So it's social distancing, and yet
Partnering
able
with
to
the,
provide a need.
with the Northern Illinois
yeah,
Food Bank.
with the Northern Illinois Food Bank. So, and other places. So it's really nice. We're maintaining social distance, and yet we are still providing the needs of the people who need food and supplies.
I believe there's a lot more coordination now than ever before between food banks, food pantries.
There is.
We're very aware of our distribution days, and everybody kind of adjusts a little bit to meet different days. They do a pop-up every now and then to help
Right.
with the overflow and the need that's there. We've realized that some of our biggest needs have been make sure people have food at home, whether it's seniors at home, whether it's children. So feeding people, number one concern that we have. Some of the other things that we worked out, our caseworkers still meeting with people for rent and utility assistance, and that's expanded. We're up 60% of our regular flow, So we've added additional staff to help accommodate for those needs as well.
And our
This-
home goods pantry is still going Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Wonderful. We appreciate that. This is 316 Douglas we're at.
Yeah,
If we
316.
phone number, how we can get in contact with you?
Yep, we
Real quick?
can go ahead and call here at Salvation Army. You can check out our website as well, salarmyelgin.org. And
Those years in Argentina help out when you're
in
Yeah.
Argentina. Thank you.
We have about 1 minute left, Mayor. Any final thoughts
Yeah, I
from
think
you?
one thing that we really want to touch on quickly, plans for Christmas. I know that's something that's going to change two big things. How are you going to ring the bell, and how are you going to give out Christmas gifts?
Start with the gifts.
We'll start with the gifts. We are still going to be doing gifts. We're partnering with the Crisis Community Center. We're really excited about this new collaboration. And so we'll be doing that together, so the kids will not be without gifts this year. As far as the bell ringing, we're not exactly sure how that's going to happen yet. I think with this COVID, everything's fluid.
That's what it
So
is.
please be prepared and willing to give.
There
It
may
just
be a
might
kettle.
Be a little different.
There may be kettles at the stands. If you see them, you know what that's going for. We may have them manned. We might have them unmanned. We might have some virtual kettles and ways that people can give online. But just know that when they're giving, it's reaching those in most need in our community.
It will stay in Elgin, so we'll still be doing that. That won't change.
You're the best bell ringer in town, so you can
I've
volunteer
done
right
that
here,
a number
can't
of
you?
times.
There we
Welcome
go.
to Elgin. We're looking forward to working with you, the city, Salvation Army, great partnership for 135 years. And Jeff, I'll turn it back to you.
All right. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Fournier, we appreciate you being with us, and thanks for choosing Elgin, all right?
Absolutely.
And Mayor, as always, get
We'll
your
see you
arm ready
next
for the bell
month.
ringing. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Right here at 316 Douglas Avenue. You heard it right here. Salvation Army. That's our segment with Mayor David Captain for the month of September.
Hi, I'm Mike Pubens. I'm the Public Works Director for the City of Elgin.
Amanda Harris, Assistant to the City Manager in Special Projects and the Arts.
And Mike and Amanda, we are right here behind you, the Civic Center Plaza area. Mike, tell us what we're seeing, what this will become.
Well, what we're seeing right now is the demolition phase of the Civic Center Plaza reconstruction. So you might remember initially it was pretty much a big concrete square, as was the tradition when this was built years ago. The goal now is to make it a much more open, inviting area, a lot more green space. So what you'll see when this is over is basically the perimeter will have a sidewalk around it, but the center will be all open green space. There'll be new trees planted. You've probably noticed with the tree removal, the site looks quite different, quite much more open. As somebody said, you can see the Hemmons now from where we're standing. So the project is scheduled to be done this year, in November. We hope to finish up. But there will be, again, lots of sidewalk for walking. There will be benches for sitting, and we just hope to make it a much more inviting and maybe a more usable space too.
We should remind folks the trees that came down the July 9th terrible storm, a few weeks later, you were forced to take down some of the trees that were hurt in that storm. Is that right? That wasn't your original plan to take all those down.
Most of the trees that came down were scheduled to come down. We had 3 or 4 others that came down with the storm, so we pulled those out, and we'll reevaluate replanting those as we get a little further into the project. But initially, we wanted to really start with a fresh palette.
Oh, Amanda, you're artsy. We know that. No chuckling at that. You're the artsiest person we know, along with Tanner and Aaron. So, Mother Sky, that wonderful work that's been there for how many years now?
It came in the 90s, early 90s. It came as part of, years and years ago, there used to be an event here called the Art Showcase, and sculptors would come and they would install their work for a period of a few weeks, up to a few months. And in that time, the group that was hosting it would purchase one of the pieces, and I believe it was 94. There's some discussion about which year it was. That piece was purchased. The originating artist is Bobby Joe Scribner. When he created it, he was a grad student, and it actually sat in the lawn of the president of his university down in Alabama. So we purchased it, he brought it here, and with that purchase money, he was able to buy a welder, and that launched his career as an artist, which is pretty great. So the piece is going to be refurbished as part of the Plaza project. It's past that time where it needs that work. And Bobby Joe is still local, so he's going to come back and act as a consultant, and we're going to get it back to its original glory.
Today we're at the Wing Park Band Show parking lot where the 3rd annual barbecue took place, back to school barbecue. Corey Dixon and family with us. Corey, it was great today. What a crowd.
This was just wonderful. The team and I were not expecting this kind of a turnout. We didn't know, and this has just been beyond our expectations this year. And every year we become even more and more surprised by the turnout as it increases.
It's a drive-through this year with the pandemic, and they were waiting in line 90 minutes before you guys opened up the gates.
Yeah, it was crazy. People were showing up an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours before the event even started. and wanted to get in line. And so it was just a great turnout. Yeah.
You want to thank some of the great sponsors. You get help from U46 and all over, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, Kimball Middle School, of course. We have, who else came out? We have,
The police are here.
yeah, the police have come out. We have Food for Friends here directly behind me. Jeff Turner, Together We Are Elgin. I mean, just the NAACP, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, who are the coldest brothers you ever
That's
gonna
wonderful.
find, and just a plethora of
Hola amiguitos, espero que todos se encuentren de maravilla. En este mes tenemos varios segmentos. Hablamos con nuestra concejal Rose Martínez, que nos habla un poquito de diferentes temas importantes de nuestra ciudad de Elgin. Uno de ellos es el censo, muy importante. Y también hablamos con Flor Chávez de la Biblioteca Gil Borden. Información que va a ser muy ideal. Por favor, estén pendientes para saber todo lo que está pasando en nuestra ciudad. Gracias. Hola a todos, este segmento de este mes tenemos a nuestra querida concejal Rose Martínez. Rose, bienvenida con nosotros.
Gracias por invitarme.
Un placer siempre tenerte.
Oh, igualmente.
Tienes
igualmente.
siempre muchas cosas que decir, bien importantes.
Sí,
Que vamos a tener una buena conversación, un poquito de todo.
sí. Primeramente, nunca me había fijado, Elisa, que tiene unos ojos muy bonitos. Yo
Muchas
creo es
gracias.
por la máscara.
Es la máscara que ayuda, ¿verdad? Rose, muchísimas gracias por todo lo que has hecho con nosotros aquí. Primeramente, dinos un poquito, porque ya tienes rato aquí en tu posturado, ¿no?
Sí. Mira, yo soy nacida y criada aquí en Elgin y me postularon en el 2014 y luego tuve mi elección en el 2015 y luego otra reelección en el 2019, abril 2019. Era algo que yo nunca me imaginé que me iba a meter a mí, pero como soy servidora, es lo que me gusta más, servir a la gente de Elgin.
Para estar aquí tanto tiempo hay que decir que te gusta demasiado.
Bueno,
que tienes
pues
mucho
me gusta.
trabajo y
Sí.
definitivamente la comunidad te lo aprecia y te lo agradece porque la verdad eres una voz para nosotros.
Mira, más que nada es que Elgin es una ciudad muy bonita,
Sí,
pero lo que me gusta es la comunidad
Sí.
y eso somos todos nosotros.
sí.
Y me gusta porque hay una diversidad que no le hace que es tu raza, no le hace tu edad, tu estatura, lo que importa es que somos todos humanos
Sí,
y que nos gusta mucho aquí venir aquí a Elgin, estar aquí en Elgin y siempre lucir a Elgin porque
Sí.
es una ciudad muy bonita, muy
el
única.
apoyo que se siente de la comunidad
Sí.
es algo muy importante y eso es lo que a mí me atrae bastante y creo que es una ciudad más fuerte por esa misma razón.
Sí, nomás que ahorita lamentablemente pues ya teníamos mucho que no nos mirábamos,
Sí,
¿verdad,
sí,
Elisa?
estamos medios perdidos juntitas, pero ni
Sí.
siquiera nos podemos ver.
Por esta pandemia
Definitivamente,
que
sí.
está pasando,
Tantos cambios.
tantos cambios.
Muchas
Mira, por
cosas.
ejemplo, tenemos cosas que hacemos nosotros como México en el Corazón.
Ay, sí, es el aniversario, ¿no?
Ay,
Ya.
sí,
Sí,
sí.
eso sí duele bastante porque vienen
Muchísimo.
mariachis y
muchísimo.
de México
De
ustedes.
México es como un tour que dan de diferentes estados y países. Y pues no, pues lamentablemente todo eso se canceló.
Eso sí duele bastante.
Sí,
Porque no sé
Nightmare,
qué- sí.
Nightmare en Chicago Street
Sí.
es otro. donde
Eso duele
viene tanta
bastante.
gente, claro.
Ahí viene, hasta cuántos, creo que eran más de
Oh, de 15,000
15,000,
personas.
sí. Sé que
casi
subió
20,000,
bastante.
sí.
Ujú.
Cada año va subiendo, va subiendo.
Sí.
Otra cosa que quiero yo tocar el tema es de votar.
Sí.
Es muy importante de votar.
Ujú.
Me da mucha tristeza que haya 45,000 personas registradas para votar y solamente 5,000 vienen a votar.
Sí, es nuestra voz y es bien importante que
Sí.
tratemos de tener ese empeño porque es
Sí.
nuestra voz.
Es nuestra voz.
Sí.
Y no solo aquí localmente, pero estatalmente
Ujú.
y con el gobierno.
Sí.
Es algo porque, pues créanmelo o no, ahorita dicen que nosotros somos la minoría.
Sí.
Somos la minoría y en Elgin dicen que somos como 45%, pero yo pienso que ese es otro tema también, el censo.
Sí.
Es muy importante que
Sea
todos,
contados,
que
definitivamente.
todos sean
Ujú.
contados, porque yo pienso que en vez de ser la minoría, digamos de ser la mayoría.
Sí.
La mayoría. Y esas cosas son muy importantes porque uno entonces elige quién nos va a representar
Sí.
y cómo nos van a
Y
representar.
la fundación que trae también,
Sí.
diferentes becas que pueden dar a diferentes organizaciones para poder conseguir ciertos servicios que si no se dan contar no van a poder recibirlas, ¿no?
Más que nada, y la gente dice, pues, quién es el que debe de estar contado o no, y en realidad todos deberíamos de estar
Ujú.
contados, porque todos usamos las carreteras, todos usamos
Escuelas,
las
hospitales.
escuelas. Sí, sí.
Ujú.
So, es importante que todos, y lamentablemente lo hacen cada 10 años,
Sí.
y en esos 10 años se calcula que es como 1.500 por cada persona.
Y es
10
nuestros
años-
hijos, sí,
Sí.
son los que van a tener que...
Y lo que pasa es que en 10 años es como $15,000 por cada persona.
Ujú.
Eso es algo que es muy importante y se
Sí.
necesita. Otra cosa que les quiero decir es que como empezamos con la pandemia, nos ha afectado como una ciudad, ¿verdad? Pero a mí me da mucho gusto que no hemos sacrificado ninguno de los servicios importantes. En otros municipios andan ahí dándole descanso a la gente,
Sí.
¿verdad? En
Que
el
se quedan
municipio.
sin trabajo y andan batallando en ese aspecto.
Sí,
bastante,
lo que pasa es que los servicios para los residentes sufren,
Sí.
no se dan. Es importante estas cosas que uno tiene que estar listo y si uno no sabe, siempre pregunten,
Sí.
hay quien preguntar. Y hay gente que me llama y quiere saber cómo se hace esto y lo otro y con mucho gusto.
Los ayudas a guiarlos.
Sí, sí,
Definitivamente.
sí, porque entonces la gente se enseña y empieza a enseñar a otra gente igual.
¿Qué creen? Se nos acaba el verano, pero lo bueno de eso es que empezamos septiembre y septiembre es mes de la hispanidad y para eso tenemos nuestra amiga Flor. Flor Chávez trabaja para la biblioteca. Flor, platícanos un poquito, ¿qué es lo que haces aquí en la biblioteca?
Hola, muchas gracias, Elisa. Para empezar, muchas gracias. Te queremos agradecerte a ti y a todo tu equipo por invitarnos. Mira, mi trabajo aquí en la biblioteca es muy bonito. Soy asociada en Servicios Hispanos y este mes venimos a invitarlos precisamente a celebrar el mes de la Hispanidad.
Este es el año 11.
Celebrándolo en la biblioteca.
Cada año siempre es bien interesante, siempre tienen tantas cosas para hacer y ahora este año, con eso que tenemos la pandemia, siempre es difícil ahora acoplarnos, pero ¿qué vamos a hacer para poder acoplar a todas las personas?
Mira, tenemos programas para la familia donde incluyen niños, los papás, los abuelitos, todo mundo está incluido.
Danos un poquito, una idea más o menos de cómo es estos eventos, qué van a hacer, cómo se llaman, para qué son y las fechas, más que nada para que las personas sepan.
Van a ser online porque ya saben, va a haber mucha gente y pues no podemos reunirnos a todos por medidas de seguridad y pues por eso lo estamos haciendo en este momento online. Este programa es para celebrar la independencia de México. Aprenderemos sobre la historia de una manera fascinante y divertida, porque lo vamos a hacer con una representación del Grito de Dolores y donde van a tocar la campana y van a decir las palabras que dijo en este momento Miguel Hidalgo. Y también vamos a tener unas muestras de bailes folclóricos por parte del grupo de danza Quetzali. ¿Sí?
Muy bien.
Muy,
Nunca puede faltar el folclore. A darle, a darle.
parte de nosotros, ya sabes.
¿Qué fechas son estas?
Y lo vamos a tener el 12 de septiembre, apunten bien en sus calendarios, de 2 a 3 de la tarde por Facebook Live de la Biblioteca Gail Borden.
Nosotros tenemos toda la información de qué hacer en caso de que alguien tenga o no tenga documentos, sea detenido por migración, por ICE, porque ha habido ciertos casos en los que han abusado, sinceramente han abusado y han engañado a la gente para que firmen documentos, etcétera,
Y no
etcétera.
sabiendo lo que están firmando es lo que a veces causa aún más complicaciones.
Exacto,
Ujú.
exacto. Y como te digo, tenga uno o no tenga documentos, puede tener la mala suerte, si le quieres llamar así, de que se aproxime el ICE y nos pregunten y nos hagan preguntas. Tenemos derechos. Entrando a este país, tengamos o no tengamos documentos, tenemos derechos. Tenemos 15 navegadoras, que se les llama, y un servidor, que somos los que estamos en la comunidad. Vamos también a escuelas. Ahorita todavía no sabemos qué va a pasar, ¿verdad? Pero nos pueden llamar al 847-293-3450.
Sí, tendremos la información.
Y ahí nos dicen, Carlos, queremos platicar sobre la información que tú le diste, Lisa. Por favor, búsquenos. Es muy importante que todos sepamos nuestros derechos.
Y esta fundación es para que tratemos de que informemos la comunidad. ¿verdad?
Claro,
Sí.
claro, y que la gente se sienta segura y no se sienta intimidada.
Elgin 311. Call, click, connect by calling 311, the city's information and request resource.